my goodness, what a great day it is here at the community. Guys, I am so excited for this call in particular, because for those of you who don't know Liz Boisvert, first off, you've been missing out. She's one of my very favorite people. And second off, kvCORE. It's such an awesome topic, and it gets missed by so many agents who are looking for the answer, and it's like in your hands already, especially if you're already with us in the community at eXp Realty. You have access to this. It's like a $600 a month tool if you have to buy it out on your own. We just get it for free. It's rad. And so today we're going to learn how to really crank this thing up, how to make it purr like a kitten from someone who's truly an expert, a 3-time Icon award-winning agent, one of the top agents in the country, and also one of my best friends, Liz Boisvert. Thank you for being here with the community today.
Hey, thank you, Jeff. It's such a pleasure to be here. I love to see all your smiling faces. I see a bunch of cameras that aren't on, and it just helps me so much to see your face and know that you're a real person. So thank you, though. Thanks, Jeff. Here from Oregon. I'm going to be switching back and forth through some screens, so I'm probably not going to be babysitting the chat box. I see some of my peeps in here that I haven't seen in so long, and I'm just going to dive in because I've got a lot to cover, unless there's something else that you'd like to add, Jeff.
No, just I'm so excited to go through this because I get questions constantly from people, and they're like, how do I use kvCORE? How do I set it up? I literally still point them to one of your past trainings that we have inside the community center, because I think it's one of the best I've ever seen. And so I've been looking forward to this because I know what a great tool it is, unless you don't know how to use it, right? It's like owning a hammer, but you think it's a sock, right? Like that doesn't work. So, so this is awesome.
It's definitely an underestimated tool. And it can be a little bit overwhelming. And that's how I started teaching, is just helping people realize how easy it is, even if you just use it as a Rolodex.
Yep.
To remember who is in your orbit. I did that for 5 years before I did anything else. So just take the basics and use it. And if you want to explore deeper, then you can. So I'm going to
get out of your way. You rock.
Okay. I just have a couple slides because really I'm going to dive into kvCORE. But I wanted to tell you a little bit about me. I joined eXp in 2017. So I'm, I guess, what they call an early adopter, and I'm super proud of that. But it's still such a baby company, really, in the big scheme of things and what we're going to do globally. So even if you're just joining eXp this year, it's not, it's great. We're happy to have everyone and keep growing our community, right? So I have over 14 years experience in real estate. It happened a blip on the map so quickly. It's just crazy to think about that. I'm a 3-time Icon. I've sold over 66 million in real estate. And that's just since I joined eXp. It's kind of like the before eXp and after eXp. Anything before is just whatever. I really started to leverage my career once I joined eXp. So I've been licensed in 3 states. Right now, I'm currently just licensed in Oregon. That's where I focus all of my efforts. I'm in a domestic team with Liz Boisvert. For those of you that have not met him, he's got a heart of gold and he wears it on his sleeve, and he would give you his shirt if you don't have one. So I would hope that you have an opportunity to meet him someday. We have a strong military connection. Bill served in the Air Force, Army. He retired here out of WU as ROTC. So if you have any VA referrals in our area, we would love to service those. We're proud to say that we opened up an eXp Cafe. It's basically a co-working space here in Independence. So if anybody's looking for a place to just print or collaborate outside of what we already do with Jeff and Lexi, there's that space for that. I'm really super proud to say that I am now a commissioner on the Historical Preservation Committee here in Independence. We have over 250 historical homes, and I just, we all make goals in this group, right? We all focus on, on some dreams of the future. And I can just envision myself being this crotchety 70-year-old woman on the HPC board being like, we don't do things that way. So I set that as one of my goals, and I made it come, it's here and it's real. It's really great. The Electrifying Food Bank is close to my heart. I have an annual coat drive I do, and this will be my 7th annual coat drive. And so I really encourage other people to pick something that's dear to their heart, particularly where you are known for selling real estate, and just dive in. Just do it. Just be yourself and do it. So there's that. Some topics that we're going to discuss, and this could vary depending on where the conversation takes us, of course. We're going to navigate through kvCORE. I'll kind of show you how it's laid out and how I use it, but it's yours. I want you to remember this at the end of this. This is your baby, and you can do it however you want. I'm just here to show you some tools that are there that maybe you aren't aware of. And maybe you basically dialed in kvCORE and you might take a nugget or two, and maybe you want to be a guest in one of the classes that I teach. I'm totally open to collaboration. I think we're stronger together. We'll talk about generating leads. I will give you the opportunity to literally grab an open house and spend $60 this weekend and have at least 10 leads in your inbox. And that's a great opportunity, right? I'll teach you how to organize those leads. We'll talk about campaigns a lot, but we're not going to dive too deep into those. It's something I could always do a side note for someone in the community if you want, but I want you to understand that they're there, because once you really start to leverage kvCORE, the automation is incredible. Behavioral alerts. I don't know if any of you have ever had a notification from kvCORE that said, somebody just visited your website and we emailed them. And you're like, what? What do you mean you emailed them? What did you email them? I want you to understand that. And I want you to know how to turn that off and how to edit them so that you know what's going on. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk a little bit about text codes. Text codes allow you to create that cool writer on your sign. Have you ever seen one of those top producing agents that's like, text this word to this number? You're like, how do they do that? Well, I'm going to show you how to do it. And one of my newest loves in kvCORE, like I'm obsessed with kvCORE, you guys. I love it. One of my newest loves is the Core Present. I'm going to show you how to present a state-of-the-art, awesome presentation to your sellers and your buyers. And squeeze pages, we'll touch base on that a little bit. That's how you can actually generate leads for free for yourself, just in case you don't have any money to property boost. So that's it. So we're going to dive in. So I'm going to switch screens real quick and take you to my kvCORE dashboard. Can everybody see this? Yes. Okay. So this is your kvCORE dashboard. I want you to understand that I don't have a special platform to do my training. So any of the leads that you see here are mine. They're things I've worked hard for. So please no picture taking, don't write anything down. I'm going to show you how to make your own. I've got quite a few things in here, quite a lot going on, and you will too if you don't already. So this is your main kvCORE dashboard. And everything over here on the sidebar will take you, it's a shortcut to all the cool features that we have. kvCORE is really good about giving multiple avenues to do the same thing. So you'll see the playbooks over here, and then there's like 3 other ways to get to playbooks. And I like that because it speaks to different mind types. And you'll figure out which ones you like best. But I'll talk a little bit more about, I'll point that out a little bit, but just know that if you see something that says playbook here and you see it somewhere else, like see how this says playbook, and then it says it here, don't let that overwhelm you. Just leave it aside. They're just giving you another opportunity to do the same thing. Okay. So very first thing out of the gate is I want you to know how to get to your website, because kvCORE is, I like to equate it to the restaurant business, and people that have taken my class before will probably get sick of hearing me say this all the time. I worked in the restaurant business forever. And the front of the house is what we would call it, for where you walk in the restaurant. That's where you get the ambiance of the restaurant. That's where you get to smell the aromas. You get to look at the menu. Well, the back of the house is where the chef cooks. That's where plates are flying, and that's where the freezers are. So your website, which you can access right here, your name's going to be in the right-hand corner. And I encourage you to actually follow along if you can, and feel free to do so. Your website can be accessed with the little globe here. So if I click on that website, it will take you to yours, right? So this is my front of the house. Now I have video on mine. I just took a video that I found for my city on YouTube. You could create your own. And then I gave creds on my website to the person that created it. Now yours probably has a still photo unless you've already done some playing around with kvCORE. Hey, Jeff, I need to minimize that bar where I love seeing some faces, but I also I'm just going to do this. Give me 1 second here, guys.
There's a little button at the top that allows you to minimize it.
Thank you. New dad. Okay. Okay, so this is the front of the house. This is what your clients see. These are what your leads see. If you put your website on your business card, this is where they're going to go. So kvCORE allows you to welcome them. And then your back of the house is this. This is your dashboard. If someone goes to your website and registers, this is what they see. So as long as everybody knows what their website is, and you can do a vanity domain, right, through GoDaddy or whatever, but eXp gives you one, and that's for free. This is your email that eXp uses. I don't personally use my eXp email except for stuff for eXp. I don't put that on my business cards. That's completely up to you. This is your smart number, and we'll talk a little bit about smart numbers because I actually, after 7 years, whatever it is, purchased my smart number. It's $27 a month. It ensures that anybody that happens to get my smart number stays in my buyer pool. Okay. There's ways for you to use your smart number if you don't purchase your smart number through text codes. So, but if you don't have your smart number purchased, I would be careful about using it if you don't have attached to a smart number. Is there any questions about that?
Hey, Liz, I wanted to jump on that topic actually, and I love that you brought it up because I think this idea of either owning your own smart number or not using it is something that people need to understand. The software is tremendous, but even if you're doing text codes and you're using the shared smart number and you put text this number to this, 7-digit or a 9-digit phone number, and then someone calls it instead of text it, it'll round robin that lead. And so I think what you've done ensures that every single lead comes to you. Love it. And if you can't afford the $27 a month, no problem. Just go into the back end of the software and choose to display your phone number instead of the smart number.
And I'll show you how to do that too. I'll show you how you make sure that your phone number is on your website. So yeah, smart numbers, fun stuff there. These are all shortcuts that you'll find somewhere else, but this one in particular, I didn't pay attention to for a while, and I want to make sure that you do. This where it says here on the right-hand side, my profile. If you're following along, just go ahead and click on that. Okay, so we're not getting into the lead stuff necessarily yet. We're just going to make sure that some of the basics are there for you. You want to make sure you update your photo, obviously. Oh, Jeff, you know what's so funny? See where it says I joined in 2018? It's actually 2017. So I've got to just pop into the cloud later and figure that out. But everybody in the class, make sure that this has a number in it. I didn't know for a while that, like, why aren't my listings showing up on my website? That's really weird. Well, that's because I didn't have my MLS ID in there. So make sure to edit your profile and make sure your MLS ID is in there. And if you haven't done that yet, that would be something good for you to put on your to-do list. So I did that just by hitting edit settings or edit profile, right? This is where you're going to put your cell phone on your website. And you can just uncheck that box if you don't want your cell phone number on there. I now have my smart number as my work phone, but I used to have Bill's number. So just make sure that you know what numbers are in here and where they're going. This is my eXp email, but I wanted to make sure that the email I use for work is on my website, and that this is, if I email out from the system, this is the email that it's using. That's my website. You definitely want to connect your Facebook. Now it's up to you whether or not you want to do a personal and a business. If you're going to do a business and you're going to use it from your kvCORE, you want to make sure that it has what your state requires for compliance. But you want to connect your Facebook because once you start doing property boosts, it connects to that Facebook. This is where those ads will run from, the sponsored ads. I have my YouTube connected and some other things, my license numbers on there. You can always find out what MLSs you have connected to your website by looking over here on the right-hand side. So you can add multiple websites, multiple MLSs. So if you yourself, I know there's someone in the class that is licensed in multiple states, you can add multiple MLSs. That's pretty remarkable. This is just a task creation. kvCORE will send you a daily list of to-dos if you want it to, and you can edit what that looks like there. But other than that, the other two things I kind of want you to pay attention to is your about me. So on your website, if someone have a bio, have your mission statement, even if it's just a few bullet points of what you want someone to know about you, that's how you edit it. And this is where I actually gave video cred to that person on YouTube, right? So that's where I put it. But definitely take some time, and maybe you have somebody that you know that's like great at writing. I think Jeff originally helped me with mine. That's with my bio when I first started. So just find someone that loves you and have them write down what they know about you as a person, and take time to do that. This is a cool signature card, e-card that I created in eXp Enterprise under marketing, and I just added that in for my signature. And then you can toggle this over if you actually want that to go on your outgoing emails. But you can see, other than that, I haven't really filled in a lot of stuff. Don't get overwhelmed, right? Like, just go in and do the basics. You're going to make sure your MLS is connected, and you're going to make sure your Facebook is connected, and that you know what phone numbers are on your website. Any questions so far? The only other thing I'm going to talk about over here is this thing right here. This is your new mobile app. This is the 360 home. Now, we do have something that's called your Millions Mapped, and that will be great. That's kind of more like a Zillow app. It just is for buyers. It's a way for them to search for homes. It's your app that you can give someone a link to or create a QR code to for them to search for homes. This one is designed, it's one of Glenn's new babies. It's designed for a journey, whether it's a buyer or a seller. Now, when I meet a buyer, I give this to them immediately. You do not need to fill this in for yourself. You don't scan the QR code. It's already created for you. A lot of times you'll have to go in and set things up. This is already set up for you. So don't worry about that. If you have somebody that's an agent that tries to register and use this, it might not work right. So if you're going to test it out, which I highly recommend doing anytime you're discovering something new, make sure it's someone that's not already in your system or with eXp. Otherwise, it can be a little quirky. But all you have to do, guys, is copy this and then save it in a note. And then next time you have a buyer or seller, say, hey, why don't you check out my new app that the eXp created for me? Use the word pioneer, like, hey, pioneer this app for me, because it's new. And if something quirky happens, you want them to feel like they're helping you figure it out, right? So it's all how you preference something.
Hey, Liz, would you show where to find that one more time? Joanne was asking.
Absolutely. So everything that we've been doing so far is over here on the right-hand side. So you've got your smart number, you've got your eXp email, you've got your website, and then you've got your app. So you just click on this button that has the phone. And then the editing that you see on my dashboard for my profile is all right here. All right. So we're going to dive in a little bit now. There is a way for you to connect your Google. Like, I have my Google Calendar set to my kvCORE. So if I create a task for myself, it actually shows up on my Google Calendar. I switched from Apple to Google because everything just is seamless and talks to each other in my Google Business. So it's something I would definitely recommend if you haven't already. But I did that by clicking on this envelope right here. Now you go to Google settings and you'll have to walk through a couple additional steps that I'm not going to do today. But if you get stuck, just text me. It's pretty simple, but there are some extra steps. Mine's already set up. It'll have you select what calendar you want to connect. You want to hit Google. And then eventually it will say Google settings here. And then you get to select whether or not you sync your emails. I do sync my emails. So if someone's in my kvCORE, whether it's the escrow company or the lender, the other agent, client, if they email me in my Google Gmail, it will actually sync over to my kvCORE. And as far as I'm concerned, it's just an additional paper trail. I do sync my calendar. That way, if I have a task reminder to call a lead or a client, it will show up on my calendar. So I can just open my calendar for the day and go, oh, here's my 5 reminders I picked for the day, or whatever it is. So definitely toggle that over. Now, contacts. If you decide to Google or toggle over your contacts, you're literally going to get everyone that's in your phone. Or, so be selective about that because you might have a lot of cleanup to do. Now, if you're like every single person in my phone is a lead, then go for it. But you're going to want to go through and hashtag all of those, etc. And if I could go back to the Liz that joined EXP in 2017 and tell her about kvCORE, I would say, get it organized right from the beginning and use it daily and hashtag like crazy. It's all about the hashtags, and I'll get more into that. So we're going to go back to the dashboard here. I'm going to go ahead and use Miranda for the most part. She's a past client of mine. She's a business owner here in Independence. So she, as you can tell, I don't have her phone number in there anymore, but I've got her email. I've got her property address. I like to use the property address because that allows me to send or print off mailers, and I'll show you how to do that. And then do you see all these hashtags right here? Hashtags, I'll just touch on this for a minute. Hashtags are like having a huge box, big database. And you look in this box and you're like, what in the heck? How do I find Miranda? Right? Like, what if you can't remember the new leads that came in, but you can remember the house they called on, or you can remember that they're looking in Polk County, whatever. But you just met him yesterday, you can't remember the name. Those hashtags allow you to look in that box and go, that's the box from yesterday, or that's my buyer box. I'm going to look in there. And it's kind of like the old library, and some of you may not, I don't know. Do they even do this at libraries anymore? I don't know. But they had these big drawers and they were full of index cards, and you could literally find a book on thousands of shelves, thousands of books. You can pinpoint where that book is. Hashtags are exactly the same. And so it's really important. We use it on Instagram, social media. It allows people to follow hashtags. It's just a really, really cool thing. And if you don't understand that yet, I definitely would encourage you to take some time to discover that. But for kvCORE, I see someone has their hand up. For kvCORE purposes, I just want you to start tagging every single person that comes in. You can have whatever hashtag system you want. You can call it whatever you want. But if you're going to do it, you're going to want to be consistent. Because if you spell something one way and then the next time you decide to change it a little bit, well, now you have two boxes, right? Instead of one. And so the fewer boxes you can have, the more consistent you can be, the more accurate and fast you'll be able to get through your system. Yeah.
So Steve Heron here, Colorado. So I use the hashtags, and I was accustomed to, when we were on Follow Up Boss, that you can click on a hashtag within a contact and it will populate a list of everyone with that same hashtag.
Mm-hmm.
When I hover over that, I'm getting the hand, but it's populating a list. So is that a support ticket I need to send into Inside Real Estate, or what would you suggest?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some support tickets. I use that stuff daily. I think that's how I learned a lot, is that I was like, is that supposed to work that way? And,
right.
And I ask, where are you hovering?
So like I go into a contact
and
I go down to their hashtags. When I hover
just like I have on my dashboard right here.
Yes.
Okay.
And then you can show us if it works on your end.
Mm-hmm.
But like I hover over a hashtag and the hand comes up like it's an active link, but nothing happens when I click on it.
Okay, so let's say I'm adding the hashtag test. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, any of those you already have set up.
But I can create a new one. I could say like, Steve is cool. Now you're not going to want to add the hashtag because you'll end up with double hashtags, right? Because I have some that I still haven't cleaned up that are like Polk County 2 hashtags, Polk County 3 so don't add the hashtag here, but there's other areas where you'll need to add the hashtag. But I can say Steve is cool, and then I just hit enter, and now Steve is cool. And then I can show you how to get to all your hashtags so that you can organize them.
I think Steve is trying to figure out, like, if he clicked on past client down there, could he pull up a list of everyone who's a past client right now?
Like, or BNI, your BNI people.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thanks for clarifying. I can show you how to get to these. This isn't where you're going to do that.
See how the hand comes up? It should, like, I have a hashtag for needs info. So I want to see the list of people that's missing information, and it won't populate it for me. So,
no, absolutely.
Up the class, so.
Yeah, no. And we'll actually I'll show you how to get to that in the Smart CRM.
Perfect.
It actually does have that, and it works beautifully. It's just not here.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So these are your types, your lead types, and you'll decide what lead type they are when they first come in. So you have your lead type. Agents, obviously self-explanatory. Vendor would be like my contractors. I don't use a lot of renters, but maybe if you do, then that's where they would go. But I want to select which of these she is, so that if I am in my Smart CRM, I can just select a group of buyers and she'll be there. So knowing what their type of lead she is, you might want to use insights. I use insights so that I know if it's a 1-star, it's probably a pretty cold lead. You don't have to, but if you do it, just be consistent. And then this is the status. It says client journey there, but it's really the status. So I like to keep my new leads. If somebody's in my new lead box, I know that I need to a call of action. I need to do something right away. And so I'd like to keep that new lead box as empty as possible. So if I go into my kvCORE in the morning and there's someone in there, I know that they haven't been helped. And I'm starting to kind of do the same thing with my active lead box. They don't sit there very long. If they are in there, it means I need to either move them to client or move them to prospect. So that's how I'm organizing my kvCORE. You can do however you want, but I'm going to just keep saying it, like, just be consistent. This is your timeline, kind of like you would see on Facebook. You can pin stuff to the top, or you can even just sort by all the notes. And those that will just sort every note that you've added. So you definitely, when you add a lead, or if you're going to import a bunch of leads, take some time to make some notes. Or if I'm on a conversation and a Zillow lead drops into my kvCORE, I will open up the lead and I'll start making notes, like, this person is VA. They want to buy in 2 months. They have 2 kids. I write down everything. And then the next time I go to call them, when my kvCORE reminder shows up on my calendar, I'm going to pull this up and I'm going to make notes. So I always have a really great paper trail and can keep track of conversations, because as your leads start to really amp up, you think you're going to remember everything, but it's pretty difficult to do. So why not take the notes? And it's just an additional paper trail. We're all supposed to have that for compliance purposes. So how you add a note, you do it over here on the right-hand side. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on some stuff. Some stuff I'm going to move through pretty quickly because we're going to run out of time. Believe me, I could spend hours teaching you everything. But I wanted to show you some really cool stuff that maybe you haven't thought of and work on the basics. And one of the basics is how to add a note. Now you can CC a lender here. We'll get into that in a minute. But you can also pin it to the top. They didn't used to have the feature where you could filter your timeline. So you had to pin the important stuff. I'm just in the habit of doing that. So I'll pin it. So you just make a note. Steve is cool. Wants to use VA or FHA loan, Polk County, whatever. And you can even attach a hashtag from here. You would just do hashtag Steve is cool. Right? And then that will show up over there on the side, but you can only attach one hashtag at a time. I usually don't bother with hashtags here. I do them all over on the left-hand side, but you can do whatever you want. So I'll just go ahead and cancel that. You can send an email from the system. So she's subscribed. If she was unsubscribed, I wouldn't be able to send an email. If she had a phone number here, I could call from here. I can send a video, and we'll get more into that. That's, kvCORE is powered by BombBomb now, which is a really incredible thing. Voicemail drop is an add-on. Basically, if you wanted to send all your past clients a voicemail on Christmas Eve, wishing them, happy holidays or whatever, you could do that to multiple people without their phone actually ringing, because you probably don't have the time to spend having 100 conversations that day, right? So it gives you the opportunity to leave a voicemail without making 100 individual calls. Core Present is awesome, but I'm going to show you another way to get there, but know that it is on your dashboard. So more actions. Once I've had a conversation with Miranda and I want to sync a task reminder to my calendar, because my calendar is set up now, I'll just set this reminder here. I'll select the date and time. And I don't usually do details. My details are all up in the title, and then I'll hit add task, and that will literally show up. And I can show you where it shows up on your dashboard too. So I just do test. I'll select tomorrow. It'll want me to select the time, and I hit add task. Super quick, right? And now that's on my dashboard. So anytime I select Miranda, I'll see what my upcoming tasks are. If you want to see the past tasks or any past due tasks, because they'll layer, you can do that by just toggling through your dashboard here or through your tabs. Let's search alerts. I try and get every single person in my kvCORE to have search alerts. It's a way to stay in front of them. It's the same kind of thing as an AIDX feed as Zillow or Redfin or whatever, but it's from your website, right? So it's going to be touching them and bringing people to your restaurant. And Miranda's already bought a house. She probably is going to buy another one. You know, she's a past client, but I have past clients that use my website all the time. I did a mass email when I first got our 360 home app and just said to all my past clients, help me pioneer this. Sign into my website and tell me what you think. And a lot of them did. And it's actually improved the traction that I'm getting with my past clients. And so I have these alerts set up. I definitely want you to have alerts, but you also have to get them in your MLS, right? So your alerts here, just like a Zillow alert, isn't going to allow you to filter by their seller terms. The seller terms dictate what type of loan can be used on a house. You can't filter in here by FHA or VA. So they're going to get homes that are cash. And so as long as you have that conversation and explain that to them, that this is really just somewhere for them to look when they're bored or have some time, then great. But if they see an email from your MLS, tell them to open it immediately, because those are fine-tuned to their criteria a little bit more and allows that those are the homes that you need to go see. Those are the emails that you want to pay attention to. So having the conversation so they know the difference is great. And then to say, if you get bombarded by emails and there's one that you'd like to turn off, have me turn off, let me know. Now, if I wanted to attach files here, I could. So I have a really cool tool that I use that's called Folio. And it allows me to create a timeline for my clients and create a PDF at the end. And if you don't use Folio yet, I highly recommend it. I believe it's free up to a certain amount, like up to 3 transactions a month, or at least it used to be. If it's not anymore and you know that, please speak up and, so people can know, but check into Folio. It's amazing. So I can take that PDF I create at the end and I can drop it into their file in kvCORE, and I'll just have record of it forever. So any transactions I've had with her are here. And then, of course, we've already talked about tasks. I'm going to show you how to connect your SkySlope so your transactions will show up as well. A lot of people don't have theirs connected. And it's just an easy way for me to click on that link and it will literally take me to that SkySlope file. Lots of shortcuts and lots of communication with EXP can all be done from the same place. So kvCORE, if you use it like I do, will start to be a daily hub for you. Some of the other actions I would want you to know, if you want to share a contact with someone, say you have a buyer's agent or a friend, you're going out of town, if you share it with them, they'll be able to add notes and edit it, but it still remains your lead. If they email from within kvCORE, it's going to be from your email. You can transfer a lead, but if you transfer that lead, you're not going to see it anymore. It becomes their lead. So I rarely use that. If you end up having duplicates, you can merge them. If I wanted to unsubscribe or subscribe Miranda, I can do that here. So she doesn't have her phone number in there, and that's why that says subscribe to text. If it said unsubscribe, it would mean that she is subscribed. Now, we talked about behavioral alerts. These are the things that happen and are triggered within kvCORE automatically. If Miranda hasn't been to my website for 14 days and she comes back, there's a behavioral alert, meaning a text or email that will go out to her. So this is not where we're going to dive into that, but I want you to know that when you're within your lead dashboard, this is how you can just go in and say, I don't want this person to ever have any behavioral alerts. I turn them off. She's a past client. Her behavioral alerts are turned off. So that's how you do that quickly. You can archive lead. There's definitely going to be times for that, but hopefully you've really, really tried hard to convert them before you do that. And I rarely delete a contact. If I can find my archive leads later, and if they come back to my website, they'll actually come back to an active lead. But if you delete a contact, they're gone forever. Even if they came back to your into kvCORE, they could end up in somebody else's buyer pool. So I wouldn't delete a contact unless you really, really didn't want anything to do with them in the future. And that's usually all the stuff I'll pay attention to there under more actions. We'll talk more about Core Concierge. It's a really great feature. It's an add-on. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on add-ons because I want you to know the stuff that's free. Now, if I'm working on my past client campaign right now. So let's say you have a new buyer or a past client, whatever it is, and you've automated a campaign to touch base with them. This is where you can either add it or subtract it. You add it to your campaign library, and I could just select that, whatever it is. So I don't have any active campaigns for her right now, and I can tell that. So once Miranda becomes closed, do you see these market reports here? I take their zip code and I add the I add a market report for that zip code. So at least once a month, I know my past clients are being touched and getting a market update for their new zip code. You can do it for yourself. Keep yourself in kvCORE for a minute so you can see how things happen, or your spouse or something, but don't leave yourself in kvCORE too long because I've found that it causes some quirky stuff to happen later. Core Present is amazing. And we'll get into that on another page. You can see that I sent Miranda a listing evaluation. Let me go to someone that doesn't have a listing evaluation because I want you to see what it looks like without that. So I could go to Jessie. I don't know if you know Jessie Blanco, but she's amazing escrow officer here. She has more of a blank slate. So I have her in Sphere because she is a title company. That's her where she's at in her journey for me. So see where it says listing valuation? I can add her and do a CMA in the matter of seconds. Watch this. You just type the address and then I hit save. Now in here, this will attach to her, but I'm going to show you how to do one of these without it necessarily being attached to someone. Which would be my preferred method, but I wanted you to know this is here because then later you'll be able to tell that you sent it and when. Now I would hit update and send, and it will send her a one-page summary of the value of her property. So if you have a past client or someone that contacts you and says, hey, can you give me a quick value on this? Put their address in, hit update and send, and within 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes, 30 seconds, you've sent them an evaluation. Now just be sure and preface this with like, I need to come and see your place again, or we need to really dig in. But this is just a snapshot. The ones that I've done with this valuation have been pretty spot on. But the system's not perfect. So just know that. So just, make sure that they know too, that you'd be happy to dive in and spend some more time on it. If Jessie was actually a listing of mine and a seller, I can add the MLS ID here and she'll get updates. So it's smart for you to do property boosts, share these with other EXP agents. Say, hey, I have this listing come up. Will you share it? Drive traffic to each other, drive traffic to this listing, because if I send her a seller report, it's going to show that she's had traction and that she's had views. And that might come in really handy if I need to ask her for a price reduction. So ask all of your friends that you're close to in your group, ask me to do it. I don't care. Share that stuff, share the MLS, use those links so that you can drive traction for your seller reports. This is another area for you to get to your homeownership app. I can send an invite to her via text or email, and it will send her a link. Jessie's gonna be like, oh, Liz wants me to check out her website, right? It'd be kind of cool if she popped in there while we're there. Okay, the only other thing I want to show you, I think, from this page. So let's say if you have a lender, gosh, time is just flying, guys. You have a lender and you want to give them specific leads. There's a particular lender I work with all of the time. I like to add her here. So you can pick any of them. Make sure whether or not they're in the system before you add them. Now, I had to actually go down here to kvCORE. They'll give you a form to fill out that will invite them. And then once they're added in the system, they sign some stuff on their end really quick and easy. I can select to add Tasha Brandon to this particular buyer. There's also a way for you to make a lender show up on your website. That would have been through my profile, and they'll have kind of a reign over your website. If a lender's really driving some leads your way, that you might consider that. I don't. I like to individually add lenders to leads as they come in. And I'm not going to do that with every lender, right? It's going to be my preferred lenders. Playbooks. this is one of the coolest new features in kvCORE. It's going to allow you to promote a listing. You can gather your sphere. It's going to take all your people in your phone and then how to work them. And there's going to be more and more that are coming, but I'm going to show you how to get to sphere in a different way, or to playbooks in a different way, excuse me. This is going to answer Steve's question. Do we have any questions so far? No? Okay. Smart CRM allows you to sort.
Hey, Liz, we did have one question from Desiree that asked, is it possible to look at the valuation without sending it?
There is. There is. And I'll show you how to do that. So smart CRM, I'm going to touch on this, and Steve asked a question and I'm here, but we will get to that. I can sort by only my listings. I could sort by all of my buyers, or all, say I want to do a mass text or a mass email to all my past clients, wishing them a happy holiday. So I would select closed, and then I hit apply filters. And then all of those people are going to drop down here. If you go into these little drop downs, you can even select by multiple hashtags, right? So if they're Polk, you want to focus in on a new property you have in Polk County, select Polk County and buyers, or Polk County and a price point. So that's how you do multiple hashtags. So you can use these filters, but you can also just sort by the hashtag here. So I'm going to clear that, and then I'll just go by, you do want to actually put the hashtag in here, otherwise it will say none. And I'll sort by my past clients. So Steve, this is how you're going to sort by your, I can't remember what you said it was, but with your hashtag that you want to touch base on, this is how you find them. And then you select all, and you'll hit mass text. If they're unsubscribed, or for whatever reason you don't have their phone number in there, it won't send it to them. So you don't need to worry about that. But you can do a mass text, a mass email. One of the great new features, I'm going to say that a lot because they're constantly adding stuff into kvCORE, is video message. Now, I do not subscribe to the pro version of BombBomb. There's the free version, which is nice. But people that really want to leverage their video, I highly recommend diving in on that. It's $30 a month, and that's cheaper than you can actually get BombBomb. There's probably some people in the room right now that use BombBomb and pay the $49 or whatever it is. So if I want to send a video, I have to select one. You get 10 free a month, and you have to send them individually. But once you sign up for the pro, you can do an unlimited amount. So there are some features that are limited, but for me right now, that's enough. And so I just select her name, I hit video message, and I send it as an email. She's selected. I want to CC myself. I put in a subject line. I click open recorder, and then it will count down 3, 2, 1. It'll open up my camera. I say, hey, happy holidays, or happy house anniversary, whatever it is. I can type whatever I want. I include my signature. Done. Matter of seconds. Done. I just sent her a personal video. So that's a really, really neat feature that I highly recommend you play with. Don't be afraid of it, right? We need to stop being afraid of video, because it really is the future as we know it. Ask Jeff. There's some other actions here. This is how you could add hashtags to multiple people. Like, let's say you already have a bunch of people in your system and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to go and add hashtags to all these people. You can do it through multiple people at once by adding. You can add a campaign to a bunch of people. So this is how you kind of take, instead of being in an individual dashboards, you can access a whole bunch of people in a matter of seconds. And you can even add a contact here. The other place I do that is here in quick actions. Any questions about that? Okay, I'm just going to keep moving until Jeff stops me. Okay, so this is how you are going to start making money this weekend. Are you ready? This might be your favorite nugget from today, my kvCORE nuggets. So you need to know where your farm is. Where are you peeing on the trees? Where are you making the area yours? I'm clearly Independence. I've been doing this in Independence for a while. Where is your area? Is it your neighborhood? No, maybe it's somewhere else. Maybe you don't want to work your neighborhood. You want to work somewhere else. That's fine. This is where you're going to be able to sort by all the listings that you have. I can sort by RMLS and WVMLS because I have them both connected. Yours will likely just be your primary, but add some more, whatever. But here's how you're going to sort by it. So I want anybody that's not doing an open house this weekend to pick an open house. We just had our open house extravaganza, right? And so one of the ways you can pick an open house is you'll go in here and you can filter by agency. So these are going to be any EXP listings. I suggest you start there. If you don't have your own listing and you want to know of another property that you can reach out to someone and grab, this is what we're doing. We're finding a listing that doesn't have an open house, and you're going to call them, and you're going to then boost the property for $60, $45, depending on what you're doing. And then you're going to have leads in your system. So I'm going to toggle over agency listings, and then I'm going to select an area that I want to focus in on. So let's say it's Salem. Select Salem. You could even select a price range. Then you apply the filter. Now you're in this filter. I'm going to go ahead and click on Jessica Farrell. She happens to have an open house. I'm starting to see more of those now that we're having more of a balanced market, right? You're seeing more agents do open houses. During COVID, we didn't necessarily have to do that. Usually when I click on these, there's not open houses. So I'm really excited that EXP agents are getting out there and doing open houses. Keep looking until you find one that doesn't, and it will just say no open houses listed. If your client calls you and says, hey, I want a couple ideas for open houses this weekend, go in here, go in their area, go in their price range, and you can pull some up. So let's say that Kiana Wells doesn't have an open house. So you call Kiana and say, hey, fellow EXPer, I would love to do an open house for you this weekend in Salem. Do you mind? She says, heck no, go ahead. Then you say, would you mind if I boost the property for you? I would really, really love to bring the buyer on this so we can work together. And she says, go right ahead. And then you say, well, while I'm there, do you mind if I do a video? Because I want to really leverage this and I'm trying to get better at videos. And she says, sure, go right ahead. She'll probably have to get the seller's permission, right? So now you have all the permission you need to really run with this. And this is what I encourage all of you to do this weekend, because if you're not making over $300,000 a year in real estate, you should be doing open houses, right? And even if you're making over that, like, why not go make connections? It's a great opportunity for agent attraction, and it's a great opportunity just to keep that wheel greased, to keep that door open. You need to knock on every door you can to figure out which one opens for you and which one you really like. Open houses don't work for everyone. They work for me. I don't know why I'm not doing them, right? I need to do more of them. So you got to prioritize what you want in your life. Open houses are, I'm coming. I'm going to be doing more. So this is what I'm going to do if I do an open house. So boost property. I showed you the playbook over here. This is how you get there. You're going to have that conversation with her. And maybe this is your first listing or your own listing. When I have a listing come up, this is what I do. I already have my credit card information in here, so mine looks a little bit different than yours if you haven't done a property boost. I know Jason Giles uses this tremendously. He used to call me and say, hey, can I use your listing? He has, right? Like we'll bounce off of each other. And that's why it's so great to be in this community, because you can do that. So let's say you have an open house. Now, an open house, if you want to run a particular open house lead, you have to have it 3 days in advance. If I'm like 2 days out, don't have time, I'll just select listing. I can put in all the information I want. I make sure it says licensed Oregon real estate broker. I do promote your listing for $60. You'll get 12 to 16 contacts. I've never gotten less than 16. Now they're coldish leads. They're not the same as, say, a hot Zillow lead that a concierge person would hand to you, but they clicked on your information. And so it's all about how you work them. And you got to keep working them. If they don't respond right away, what do they say, Jeff? Like you should contact people 12 times?
Well, absolutely. I think you just keep contacting until they buy or die. I mean, that's the concept. You know, at some level, the nice thing about this system is that it's automating that process, right? It's not all on your shoulders, because sometimes people are thinking, well, what if I have hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands of it? That's fine. We're just going to keep reaching out over time. Some people will, some people won't. So what? Move on, enjoy your life, right? Like that's part of what we're learning today, is that you can have a mass impact without having massive time being obligated to the system. But yeah, definitely. I think 8 times to set an appointment with a real contact is pretty average.
Yeah, kvCORE really, really can free up some time because you can have it all automated. You know, the first few times are going to be me and I'm going to be calling, but they don't have to be. You literally could have it all streamlined and set up ready to go from the get-go. And that's why people pay tons of money for kvCORE, hundreds of dollars, right? But we get it for free. So you just hit promote your listing, and then it takes your credit card information, and boom, it starts to run. Now, I used to generate a link, which you can do in kvCORE, and drop it into my kvCORE or to Facebook. And you can do that for free, which in the very least, you should be doing that. But you can also boost it in Facebook. So I've done both. I've boosted it through Facebook, but I've also boosted it in kvCORE. And I've found that the kvCORE works way better. And it's because they do text codes. They do other things to leverage it that you just don't get by dropping a link in Facebook.
Hey, Liz, do you mind if I jump on this bandwagon? Because
No,
I
please.
really quickly, and I'm loving what you're saying, and I don't want to steal much of your time, but I will say this. The part of the reason why the kvCORE process works so well is because they're leveraging their ad accounts, and they have a couple ad accounts that they've warmed up with tens of millions of dollars of ad spend. And so when they go to run an ad for you, their legitimacy score in the algorithm on Facebook is much higher than your brand new page, or, I ran $500 in ads last month. Even like if you're doing some ad spend, they're a real player in Facebook. So what they're doing is they're leveraging an existing page to promote your property, and that's going to give them a lot more clicks per dollar spent. And that's a very helpful thing for you. So while there's always the kind of, but I really want it to be on my page. That's great. Take it when you see it come across your platform, share it to your page. That's even better, right? But you don't have to be the one doing it. And I think that's what's really awesome.
No, that's really good insight. And I will show you how I'll take just a link. And guess where I get the link from, guys? I get it right here. You don't have to create your own link. I've heard that Facebook really prefers those long links. And maybe Jeff can speak on that. But there is a link already here created for you. So I will just copy that link. Let me go back. Copy the link. Drop it into my Facebook. And I don't want to spend forever to do this because you probably all know how to do that. But I'll go to my business page. I got to switch this up here. They just did this big update. I don't know if you know this or not, but you have to actually toggle over there and be able to post. And then I'll drop the link. Now, if you drop the link, this is how you're going to do it for free. Or maybe you just want to give cred to the person that you're doing the open house for, right? So you just say open house this weekend, come see me. Oh, by the way, listing provided by. Make sure to delete that link at the top. They don't need to see that. Now, anybody that clicks on that link is going to come into your kvCORE, and it's free. But this property boost that they're going to be running for you, do that too, because that's where the leads are really going to come from. This is kind of just letting your seller know and your friends and your family and the other agent know that you're working, right? But that's not where a good source of leads are going to come from, unless you're one of those rare birds that your SOI is just incredible and that's all you got to do. Like Jeannie Scott, she's got so many people in there. She does one post and she'll pick up like 4 people. Open every door, right? But they already have that link created. And I can show you how to create that squeeze page too. But if you're short on time and you just want to grab it quick, they already have it. I'm going to show you something else that I do. Now, Craigslist, maybe you don't want to use Craigslist. Maybe you do. It's just another way for me to add value to my sellers. And that's my objective. Anytime I have a listing, is like I set myself apart by what I can provide. kvCORE helps me do that. I'll hit post to Craigslist. Watch this. In a matter of seconds, I have a text code and a Craigslist ad, and I hit publish. Don't do this on other people's unless you have the permission, of course. I'm not afraid to do this because I have to then hit publish, and then you'll be sent an email. And then once you hit publish from there, then it's real. But I just wanted you to see how quick and easy that was. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to generate a QR code. I can take that QR code, throw it on a flyer with maybe a few other open houses with my picture and my logo, can do all that in marketing, right? In EXP Enterprise. And if they click on that, then I basically have a QR code for my listing, and it will take them to a flyer that the system generates. And if they click on that, then you got their information too, which is great.
Liz, do you ever put these on your signs? Do you ever get those printed? And
that has been on my to-do list for years, and I've just been so busy I haven't been able to. Believe me, this year this will happen. Maybe sometimes I'll do the text code, maybe I'll do the QR code and kind of play with them and see where I get the most traction. but this will be happening for my listings. Find a sign company that can turn something quickly around you, print it off, and then laminate it and stick it to the sign, whatever you got to do. But that QR code is basically like a flyer. There is no reason any of us should be putting those old school flyer boxes in our property that you have to refill, because the QR code will drive everybody to your website. Done. No printing, nothing. So that's on my to-do list. I would hope that it would be on yours too. So those are some fun things that you can do under listings. You've now generated an open house with an EXP agent. You know how to take a QR code. You can even print a flyer from there. You've got the link that you need. So there's no reason that by after this class that you couldn't generate 15 leads by the end of the hour. So you're welcome. But let me know how it goes. I want to hear, if you get stuck or if you get a sale out of it. Like, I would love to hear that. So to keep moving, marketing and lead engine are the two sidebars, the links I use a ton. Core Present is one of the newest features that I've really started to leverage when I have a listing, or if I'm going on showings with a buyer that's seeing more than 2 homes. So you can literally create your CMA from here. You put in the address, and I'm going to take time to show you because I just want you to see how easy this is. You confirm the information is correct, and then you can either just go right to the presentation, or you can actually upload the MLSs that you've generated, the comps that you want to use, and put them in here. And then once you have your comps in there, you'll just hit skip to presentation, and that will be a slide that will have those comps in there. And the information that it creates is just a really nice basic presentation. And I can share that via a PDF. Maybe, like, hey, I'm so excited that we're meeting tomorrow. Here's a presentation I created for you. Email it to him, or you can do the web version, and that would generate a link. And you can add slides if you want to. You can take some out. So I want to go back here because I want to show you what you can do for your buyers. So you have a buyer that's coming into town and you're showing them 5 listings. And so you can create a buyer tour. So you add the MLSs here. You can put in who you're preparing it for, and it will show them a map, and it will have information about each property. And then it looks like you generated it for them. It shows them that you spent time to prepare, and you can have this done in a matter of seconds, and you email it to them the night before and say, here's what our plan is for tomorrow. If there's anything you'd like me to add, let me know. You can even do that really easily. So really, really great 2 tools for you to leverage and provide value, because one of the things Jeff really helped me with early on is it's not just about following up with the lead and saying, hey, how are you doing? It's about being able to add value. You want to add value to your new leads and show that you're the expert. You want to add value to your past clients so that they know you remain the expert. And things like that really will set you apart from other people. Voicemail drop, we talked about that. That's an add-on that you can explore. Concierge is an add-on. The system will be your concierge and nurture leads. If you really have a lot of leads coming in, they'll feed them to you when they're ready. Smart campaigns. We definitely want to talk about that. So when you get into this smart campaign, I didn't use smart campaigns for a very long time. I should have, in hindsight. I would have converted a lot of the leads that ended up, back burner and then dropping off my radar. But I have this campaign, and these are all the campaigns I have in my system. If you get in here and you don't have any, just pop over to the kvCORE library and you can add what you want. And then let's say you get in there and you're like, well, what does the campaign even say? The default new buyer campaign, you'll see some for your playbooks that they have in there. I tried out Nosy Neighbors. So those you can even do one for your open house. There's a library of a campaign for our open houses. So you create a hashtag open house. If you add that hashtag to a buyer, it will add that campaign automatically and it will start to run. Now, there's some campaigns that you don't want to have run once you've started to have conversations. Like a default buyer campaign is going to be pretty generic. And so if you've already had a conversation with them and qualified them, then your goal is going to be to shut it off. And so you would go into your client dashboard over on the right-hand side where I showed you, and you shut that off. But if you have a campaign that will work for your past clients, like once a month, that just says, hey, it's Liz. Hope you're having a great day. Done. And it will happen for you while you're showing houses or whatever it is. So start to think about your campaigns and go into them and edit them and know what they look like. You can remove a campaign. You can share it with someone. If you have one that you've created that's like spectacular and really works for you, you could share it with a friend. There's all sorts of things you can do, and just clone them. If you're going to create a new one, I suggest you clone it first. That way you always have the original. But if you want to do your own campaign, you just add it here. So does everybody remember where to add that campaign into the lead? That was back on the client dashboard. Okay. So we'll go back.
Liz, we got a quick question in the chat that came up. That was, where did you find the buyer tour? That was Joanne asking that.
The buyer tour, we went to Core Present. So I'm in marketing, and then I just hit get started under Core Present. Basically, it's presentations within kvCORE, and it's one of the top boxes. I'll show you real quick. Get ready to win, people. It's what we're doing with kvCORE. So that's just the buyer tour. You can just do a regular presentation, or you can pull comps for your buyer. You're supposed to actually have evidence that you pulled comps if they're writing an offer. You could do that here, or one for your seller. So I hope that helps. Search alerts, you can actually create a search tied to a hashtag. So if you said hashtag buyer Polk County, and you know that you want it to be Polk County and the typical 3-bedroom, 2-bath, you can create that alert and attach it to a buyer with that alert. So it's a way to do a mass alert for multiple hashtags versus being in the client dashboard where you're only going to create alert for that person. Schedule a mass email. If you can plan ahead, that's a great way to do it. Now this right here, the CMA builder, somebody asked, how do I create a CMA for someone and be able to look at it first? This is how you're going to do it. Now, sometimes when I do these, it says it doesn't have enough information to generate. So it's not perfect, but for the most part, I can put in an address. You got to give it time to populate. I can put in the address and I can hit build CMA. Say there's not enough info for that one. You can use RPR too. Any of you that don't know about RPR, you can kind of do this with that. This is just tied to your kvCORE and it's personalized to your website. So this one's working because I can see it's generating it, and it's going to give me a link. And then I can take that link and send it to them. Unable to generate. So it's not perfect. I just did this last night. It works. Play with it. Do your own property address on one of your leads, and it will give you a link. And then you open the link and it's a 1-page summary of value. It even will have the picture of the property. So that's great. Any questions so far? I know we're moving super fast, but I've given you some nuggets. Hopefully you'll start utilizing them.
Liz, I have a quick question.
Sure.
Can you do a campaign where it automatically sends someone or sends your clients that market report like once every quarter or something like that?
Yeah. So once you'll go back to whoever it is, your client. We'll pick on Karina. That's your market report right here. Now, it's not going to be specific. Are you talking about like a specific one for their property?
Yeah, I know there's some sort of like app or something out there that you can purchase to have that market information for that specific property sent to your clients on a regular basis. But I was wondering if kvCORE
My
does
lender,
like
Tasha Brandon, has something called Home IQ, and you can do that. I get updates for my property value. So if you have a lender that already has that, you might be able to get it for free. I don't ever pay for anything until you know that there's no other way for you to get it. But at the very least, you should have them signed up for a market report. And then you have a listing valuation here. And all you have to do is go in. Once you have this set up, you can just hit resend and it will calculate a new one for that time. but it's just not
Awesome.
gonna, the market report will be automated, but the listing evaluation isn't, not yet.
And the
Doesn't-
listing valuation, there's no way to like preview that before you send it out.
It'll show you a little number right before you hit send.
Oh, okay.
But just always preference it like, hey, I did that. I did snapshot for you. This was just me thinking of you. I didn't spend a lot of time on this. So if it's questionable, let me know. That's a great conversation opener. Like if it comes on 100 grand low, guess who they're going to call? Like what the heck, right? So it's okay if it's not perfect, as long as you prep the conversation. Schedule mass day. Let's see, birthdays. Gosh, I love this. So I used to always set a task to contact my past client when it was their house anniversary. Well, this is how you do it automatically. So inside that lead, I can toggle over the client status. So what clients I want it to go out to. I can fine tune the email and text, or I can just do it. I just do it for anniversaries. And that's why the only thing toggled over is my closed. And then I went in and made sure that these templates were accurate, and you can get to those templates in your smart campaigns. Okay. And then to toggle that over for your client to make sure that they are receiving that. Once they're closed, you're going to go over to profile detail. And this is one of my systems and my checklist for when something closes. I'll go to edit details. I'll add the date closed right here. And then I toggle over anniversary and email text.
I want to make sure everybody just heard that one. That is massive. You need to be writing that down. This matters so much.
Well, it's just another thing you're doing for your client without you having to take time out of your day to do it. Doesn't mean you can't set alert to remind yourself that it's going out in case you want to follow up with a phone call. But usually I'll get a response from my client saying, hey, thanks for saying happy anniversary. And then I can start the conversation. Another thing you want to do is make sure that your clients, especially if you purchased your smart number, that they have your smart number saved as your office number. That way, if they get a text from your system, they know it's you. Like, oh, that's Liz. Oh, okay. So back to marketing, hashtag management. If you want to see all of the hashtags you've ever generated, I have quite a few in here, 18 pages, 851 hashtags. I need to clean mine up, but I can search for the hashtags. I can merge them if I have duplicates. I can delete them, edit them. I can add contacts to a particular hashtag. So, I mean, there's just so much great stuff, you guys. But you don't have to use all this. All you need to use this for is a Rolodex. Like just add your client, add the notes from your conversation, add a task reminder to call them. It's all I did for 5 years. That's all I did. I wish I would have used all the other stuff sooner, but I didn't. Okay, so listen, we're getting down to the last 15 minutes. We're going to run out of time, but it is what it is. This class, like I said, is hours long. I do have a class that I do hands-on. I just bring you chunks when I can. There really should be a part 1 and a part 2. But behavioral automation, if you want to keep the system from texting someone or emailing them automatically, I showed you how to get into that lead dashboard, turn off behavioral automations. But if you want the system to work for you, particularly for leads that aren't your past clients, my past clients don't have behavioral alerts, but maybe it's a lead that I generated from a playbook or a property boost, and I want to have the system work for me, they're going to have those behavioral automations because I want certain things to happen without me thinking about it. This is how you get in there. And it's a lot less overwhelming compared to like a smart campaign. Smart campaign, there's so many libraries, right? There's only 6 of these. I actually have 7 because I created one of my own. Wait, 1, 2, nope, there's only 6. I have a request in for one. So you can request, if you request enough, you'll see it show up. But these 6 are easy to go in and make your own. One of the first things that I did, it used to have this name box. What's that called, Jeff? These little boxes?
The merge fields?
Merge field. It had a merge field for the buyer's name. Well, if I have a lead in there that I haven't gotten their correct name, or sometimes they'll just put in like, I don't want you to talk to me, whatever. You don't want it to say, hi, I don't want you to talk to me. So I took out that merge field out of all of mine, and then just kind of fine-tuned it to make me to sound like me a little bit more. So definitely today, I want you to know what those are. toggle over who you want them to go to. That way, when you see those reminders, you know it's working for you instead of against you. And lead engine. This is how you would create a landing page. It's how you create your own link. Gosh, there's so much on here that I would love to show you. I'm trying to really hone in on what we might talk about on the last 15 minutes. But generating a link, you can do that here. This is how that link I showed you inside the listing that had the little link generated. This is how you'll do it. And it's really easy. When you open it up, it's going to
Hey, Liz, hold on.
Yeah.
Before, sorry, I was trying to like get to my buttons fast enough.
Yeah,
You're like a crazy
okay.
cat. We've all seen that GIF. But I was thinking, like, if somebody's on here and this is your very first time and you're feeling overwhelmed, here's what I would say. First off, if you've been in real estate, and I've done this with a number of people who've just come to EXP because now they have this amazing Lamborghini of a tool, what we'll do is we'll sit down, put their past client database. And if you guys haven't done this, this is something Liz has already shown you how to do today. Do this one thing and your business will blow up. Okay, take your past client database, get every single person in here, and then literally just go in and set up a market report to go to them every 2 weeks and an anniversary reminder. That one thing, and you are now like literally twice a month, they're hearing from you. How many times a month did your entire past client database hear from you last month?
Right.
It's just got to be that simple. It's like do one thing and then go from there. It's like, well, what if I don't have the system set up? Yeah, you'll figure it out. It's okay, right? It's going to be fine, but just move forward. And I want to encourage everybody to like not feel overwhelmed. It's okay. It's, Liz has had years to become a true expert on this. But the thing that I know is if you do nothing, I can guarantee you what your result will be.
I love that. It's so true. It's so true. And that's why I say don't get stressed out about this. Just get them in there and get the hashtags. Get the hashtags in there so you can sort them. And maybe you only have one person to add in there. Maybe you don't have anybody to add in there. Now you're really starting off early, which is great. But if you do have like a different database, say you're at another brokerage and you want to move over all of your leads from a CSV file, they call it a CSV file, that CSV file can be popped into your bulk imports. And I got there by going to lead engine, right? We kind of been just walking down the sidebar. And that's all I did when I started is I would just walk down the sidebar and I would click buttons and see what was there. So you go to bulk import. You're going to have that CSV. One word of advice I would give you when you're creating that CSV to import them from another system is to sort it by buyers, sort it by sellers, sort it by contractors, right? That way you can attach a hashtag buyer or whatever hashtag you want to use. And instead of having this big box, they're already kind of in a smaller box. They're already smaller box hashtagged. So kind of sort them that way and have individual CSVs. It will save you time. Now,
It also protects, by the way, what you're talking about actually protects your business. Just so everybody knows, like the way that these smart numbers work inside kvCORE is if one of Liz's past clients who are already in her system call the smart number, it's already going to redirect to her because it recognizes that that lead belongs to her, y'all. So think about that. It's not just like good strategy. It's also protecting your book of business. Like we're the second largest or first largest independent real estate brokerage in the world now. You probably want to make sure that your leads are your leads. So just go in there, populate the fields, put your people in your system and bada bing, bada boom, you're good to go.
Yeah, if they're in your system, they will be directed to you. If they're not in your system, it doesn't know where to put them. So you can do it yourself. Don't mess with that. Just hit this little button that's called submit file. Make sure you attach a hashtag like I did, like where they came from and whether they were a buyer. Make sure you attach a hashtag. It'll email it to them. You'll get an email saying, hey, we received your request. And then a couple days later at the most, you'll receive like, hey, you're done. And then you'll be able to go into your smart CRM, sort by that hashtag you gave it, and then start filtering through them and give them specific hashtags, stuff like that. So Jeff's absolutely right, is get your people in your system. So this is where you'll create that special link. If you don't want to just use the one that's inside the listings, this is how you can create a landing page. Say you're going to a listing appointment later this afternoon and you really want to wow them because you're with one of the tech savvy brokerages in the world, one of the best tech, high tech companies. You can create a landing page. A landing page is just really a way to capture leads, but you could do one with a video. This is a really cool feature. You can take one of your YouTube videos, attach it here. You just do the extension on your YouTube from the YouTube video and drop it there, and it will show up down in the video. But if you don't remember that and you get stuck, there's a little video showing you how to do it. And then you can actually add a hashtag, right? You can change the little submit button. See the submit button down there? You can say, I want to work with Liz, whatever. And then you can even direct them to a particular place on your website. So you'll go to your website to where you want them to go, and then you can drop that URL in there. And that's where they'll end up once they click on that button. And you can highlight all of this and edit however you want. I could do a light theme. I can change the background. And then done. You've like literally just created basically a website, right? And then you have this link, and you can share it from here, or you can save the link and just drop it into your Facebook, or you can say to your seller, like, look, I already have this created for you. How many agents do you think, if you're competing for a listing, how many agents do you think are already going to have a website built for their seller? That's what I'm doing when I go to my listing appointments. So if you're coming to a listing appointment with me, competing against me, you got your work cut out for you. And that's because I use kvCORE, guys. So I see Joanne has her hand raised. Do you have a question?
Yes, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so can you go back to that landing page thing that you were
Sure. I'll just go to past landing pages just so we can reference it pretty easily. Yep. I can't hear you.
Sorry. Okay, hold on.
There she is.
Is it still giving? Okay, hold on. Dang it.
A little bit of an echo. You can just jump in.
all right. Can you hear me now? Sorry.
That's okay.
Okay, so what is this ad? You're saying this is a web page, but what is the client looking at?
It's your interface. It's your restaurant. It's your front of the house.
Okay, but this particular thing that showed up when I clicked on landing page that EXP created, drastic price reductions, what is this telling somebody? I'm really trying
Well, you design it to say whatever you want.
So we're going to customize this thing?
Yeah, you totally customize everything.
All right.
Well,
so I just didn't really
I'm not spending a lot of time customizing it because there's some other stuff I want to talk about, but I can select this and just put in the street address.
I see. Okay. So you can change everything that's on there.
Yes. Yep. And then if you end up, see how I accidentally deleted that box, and you're like, I wanted that box. Just start over. No big deal. Just start over.
Because I looked at this yesterday and I'm like, what the heck this is not what I want to send out, but I didn't realize that this is where I actually create the thing. I thought I needed to be looking somewhere else to find what I was trying to do. So
yeah, it's just the interface. It's basically creating a link that you'll drop somewhere for an interface to generate leads. So I could even do address capture. Like I could say, want to know your home value.
Okay.
And they have to enter their address. So you just decide what you're trying to do, add your hashtags, pick your background, change a few things. If you double select it, it erases. So you'll get the hang of it. It still tricks me. Still gets me every once in a while, but just start over. So this is where you create call to capture. This is where you're going to create your text code. So everybody has their own personal text code that they've already created for you. So I'm going to go to the print shop and say, text Liz B1 to my smart number. If they do a property boost for you, these are the text codes they use. So you can actually use this text code and then go get a sign made and put it on your sign, your rider. So it's kind of cool. And then that ensures too, if you don't have your very own, like we all have our own smart number as far as like the system gives you one, but I've been, in one of my classes, I'll have two people that have the same smart number. So we all have our own smart number that you can, use, but text codes protect it from going into someone else's pool because you're the only person that will have that text code, if that makes sense. This pitch sheet is a great way for a listing appointment for you to actually pull all of the EXP agents and all of the buyers that they have for Polk County for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. And you can say, look at all these buyers I have in my system for you. This is really good when you're competing for a listing. And then get more leads. That's just some add-ons. kvCORE, you can spend a lot of money in kvCORE generating leads. Lots and lots and lots. Transactions. All of my transactions are connected from SkySlope. So if you'd like, I can show you how to connect your SkySlope. Why not? Right? Because then you just have a quick way to get there. And then it just not part of that paper trail. If you go to, and I'm going to get there by going to Marketplace. Marketplace will take you to all the ways to really pimp out or leverage your kvCORE, all the add-ons. You can find those in Marketplace. And you'll see some repetition, like here's Core Present, right? This is how you buy your smart number. You can add Google Sheets if you wanted to. This is your BombBomb. But this is how you're going to connect your SkySlope. Mine says installed, but yours likely doesn't. So it's when you hit install, it's going to ask you for an access key. And, you know, for those of you, I don't know if everybody in the room is necessarily with EXP and has SkySlope, but if you are with EXP, this is just another great feature that we have. You can go to your SkySlope and then you click on your name. And I think you go to account and then you go to integrations and you grab this information. This is your access key. You generate it. So this is your secret generated key. So that's your access key and that's the secret. You just copy them and you go back to your kvCORE and then you pop it into this box. Mine's already added. You'll click add to kvCORE and it will ask for the access key and the secret code. And then those two systems will talk to each other. So, you know, we talked about making sure that your MLS is connected. We talked about how to sync your calendar. That has a couple extra steps. So we've talked about Craigslist and how to really automate that additional feature for your sellers. That requires you to download one of these extensions up here. It's a Google extension. So just Google on YouTube, like how to add a Google extension, or call me. We can set up a time. I'll walk you through it. You could take one of my classes. But I'm teaching you how to generate things and automate things. I've taught you how to do CMAs. You know how to get around your client dashboard. You now know how to set up your smart campaigns and edit them. There's so much information and I get so excited about it. So don't ever hesitate to reach out to me. I'll probably, you know, touch base really quick on the Web IDX, because this is how you can really start to customize your website. There's some shortcuts here on this main page, but just dive into edit settings. Don't get overwhelmed by this, okay? But at the very least, play around with it. Like choose the template you want. Like what kind of ambiance do you want created for your leads when they come to your website? Choose your template. Maybe pick a background image. You can even upload your own image. I have our Greenwood Group logo here. You can upload that, but you just scroll down, kind of play with stuff. I don't ever mess with the coding. It's already there. They know what they're doing. So you don't have to even mess with this and you'll be just fine. So if you just need to focus on the basics and getting your leads into kvCORE, that's absolutely fine. But if you're ready to stretch that muscle a little bit and explore some other things, you can do that in here. That's how you do it. And they even have little videos throughout it so that you can fine tune stuff. This is, you know, my background video for YouTube. That's that little extension. You can change the headers on the labels, right? Now, if you make a change in here, you're not going to see it reflected and you're not going to see it reflected on your website. There's a way to delete the cache, the cookies to see it right away. If you need that, let me know. But just play with it. And then, you know, after you're done making a few phone calls or whatever, the next day you're in kvCORE, you can go back and see the results. Don't be too afraid to mess around. You're not going to screw anything up permanently because kvCORE inside real estate, and EXP can always bail you out if you get stuck, right? I literally, this little button is how I talk to people at kvCORE, like, I need help. They're going to try and direct you to their resources. They have a full library resource of articles. Just keep saying, no, I need to talk to someone. No, I need to talk to someone. And now it's about 3 to 4 hours to get somebody back to you. But it's nice because they'll email you. So if you're no longer at your computer, they'll email you, and then that conversation can continue that way. So don't be afraid to just drop something in, ask a question, and then you can revisit it later. But I guarantee they're like, oh man, it's Liz again. Oh man, is that girl ever going to leave us alone? Right? So I would like to just finish up by giving you my information, and you can always reach me in the community on Facebook. But we teach, I have a kvCORE class I teach if you're like really great stuff, but I really need some hands-on. I would love to have the opportunity to have you at our co-working space. I just started a hybrid one that's on Zoom so I have people that aren't in Oregon that can't make it. We have that co-working space that's super affordable if you just want a place to hang your hat and have somewhere to print. And then I do have offering you 35% for any referrals that you would send our way. We're in Independence, Oregon, the Willamette Valley, and we have I have other people in my office too to help. So we've got a team of people here to help you. So that's my information. I don't know. Is there any other questions that I can help you with before we?
I have a question. I want everyone to hit me up in the chat, because I know like a lot of you guys, like the diehards that hung in there. There's a lot to process today. It's awesome. But do me a favor, because it's always fun to see. Hit us in the chat. Yes, if you got value, if you got some golden nuggets today from this training that you're going to be able to use in your business to grow. Like, look at that. Joanne, yes. Michelle, yes. Kevin, yes. Jen, yes. Linda, yes. Christine, yes. Like, this is Aaliyah, yes. This is awesome. Thank you guys for doing that, because it always feels so good. I know when you're presenting, it's like talking into a vacuum sometimes, right? Like, oh man, I hope that was okay. Amazing from Allie. That's awesome. Yeah, Liz, you rocked it. And thank you. As always, you're always just so generous with your time, and your energy is just so fun to be around. You guys, it takes time to master something like this. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, that's good, because that gives you a heads up that you have an opportunity to master something new in your universe that could help you exponentially, right? A little bit of mastery in kvCORE goes a long way in your business. That's what's really fun about it. And the very last thing, I want to double down on this, that Liz mentioned today, is there's a whole help button right there in the platform. So if you're like, how do I do this? The first place that you go is, and you press that little help button and you just ask the question, and someone's going to get back to you. The other thing is, on the other side, the left-hand side at the bottom, there's that whole kvCORE like university or whatever they call it now, which is just like, that's it. It's like 7 trillion hours of, but you can sort it out by topic. So if you're trying to like get listings using kvCORE, okay, well, how do I do that? And then there's like 25 million videos on that. So this is a really, really helpful thing. And also, for those who don't know, Liz is one of the top trainers for kvCORE for the whole company, for all of eXp Realty. And so she gets pulled in to do this kind of work. She's given this time today just for the community so that you guys could have this benefit. That's a huge gift. So make sure that if you have that referral, send it to her. We're going to post this also publicly, Liz. So hopefully you get some nice fallout traffic. But thank you for being you.
Well, you know what? I just love contributing to what you have going on, Jeff, and Lexi too. You guys bring so much value to the table. The least I could do is try and, add to that. So it's an honor to be here. And I speak for a ton of us. I know that we really appreciate you. And I appreciate the opportunity to help. And I hope that wasn't too much, guys, but I really wanted to just cram a bunch in there because there's all sorts of people here. There's people that have never used kvCORE and people that have used a ton of it, right? But don't get overwhelmed. Our little community, this special group we have here, you're going to have more access to me than most people. I'll say that.
I think that's the truth. And I will also tell those of you who are guests today, the community is our growth organization. We're support, training, coaching, mentorship, and collaboration, leading with heart and loving your life. We're trying to create balanced human beings who really win in every department of their life. And I think it's working, right? We've got hundreds and hundreds of agents all over the world now that are joining us, and we're growing like a weed. So it's just so fun. And by the way, if you're one of our agent partners and you're like, I haven't invited any of my friends, well, shame on you. Don't hide it under a bushel and just show up. Tell your friends, bring them to one of these calls. The next one's next week, the same time, same place, here on this channel.